Hey, guys. I am coming to you today, basically to talk about baggage, burdens, and labels. We are on Ask Indigo. I am partnered now with the Small Business Network Podcasting. Today's conversation is going to be about the baggage, burdens, and labels society places on us. And how to gravitate past these boundaries in another sense. The world it's been crazy the last few years, and having to gravitate past understanding who we are, what we want, and where we're trying to be in our own lives. That's an interesting thing because it's hard to know where you want to go with life. A little bit about myself. I was a person who was always afraid of speaking up and speaking out about things that I know. I lived a lot of my life with others kind of living through me by labeling me and placing baggage and burdens on me. I come from a family setting that wasn't the greatest. I wouldn't say it wasn't loving, but it was rough. It was hard. And that created inside of me things that I felt kind of created a PTSD in a way, and limiting me with having the ability of being able to be my authentic self. So, where do I want to go with this? I can go with this in a lot of different ways. Baggage. I personally deal with a lot of different baggages in my life, and baggage could be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Your family, your lifestyle, how you live life, how you understand life, how you live in the world when it comes to dealing with these type of situations. Like, it's not easy living a lifestyle of always having to think and do for everyone else. Baggage can come in all shapes and forms, to be honest. When you're looking at baggage and you're looking at like things in your own life, baggage can be your family, baggage can be your friends, baggage can be relationships, baggage can fall under a lot of spectrum area fields of how you carry life. Like, how do I want to put this? I'll run into my personal baggage. So my personal baggage is not easy. I'm a mother. I am a life coach. I'm a minister who has psychic abilities. And I have children who all have their own issues. They struggle with understanding their place in life, and they're constantly needing me to assist them in a lot of different areas. And it's hard to be the person that has to take on the baggage of everyone else and still deal with your own baggage. And unpacking all that baggage is kind of hard because, like, if you were to think of your life and put everything in that bag. I did a series not that long ago where we played a game called Baggage, Burdens, and Labels. And the series was an interactive series that allowed others to carry the burdens of others. If you're a person who struggles with like control or giving up control, I definitely struggle with these areas of giving up control because I'm used to always doing everything for myself, and I'm always used to having to do for everyone else, and to give up that control to allow someone else to have that control is very nerve-wracking. But that also comes with baggage because, like, it's hard to live in a life where you have to be yourself and you want to be yourself, but you also have to cater to everyone else's needs. And other people can have a really crazy lifestyle and they expect you to like know everything for them, want to do everything for them, need them to do everything for them. A lot of times people can't even function on their own unless someone is doing something for them. But that becomes burdensome. So like bad enough that you have to carry your own baggage and then carry the baggage of other people, but then you have to carry the burden of carrying that baggage for others. And then if you're trying to live your own life, you're having to deal with the labels that society places on top of you. So recovery, that's a good way to start with that. Like if you're a person who is trying to change who you were and you are trying to become a new version of yourself, that's a better version of yourself, there's others that won't respect those boundaries. They won't even understand why you want to change. And a lot of the time, people that are not willing to go through a change are not going to understand why you want to change or why you need to change. And a lot of the people like to keep you stuck in this cycle of no change, because when you're comfortable in a specific level in life, like when you're comfortable with seeing the same routine and dealing with the same people and living that same lifestyle, it's hard to change and transition out of old habits and old mindsets and old beliefs, because you're used to it. And to have to unpack the baggage of the old version of you, who you were and who you were once portrayed to be, to who you are trying to transition into be, that becomes hard on other people to accept. Like others want to hold you hostage to an old version of yourself, or they want to give you a hard time when you want to be a revamped version of you. Boundaries is like a big issue when it comes to change. So baggage, burdens, and labels falls under the category of also boundaries. Like a lot of people don't respect boundaries and don't respect the fact that when you're wanting to change and you're wanting to do better, that might bother some people, and they might make people think like, why the change, or you're becoming brand new, or you're becoming someone different because, you know, whatever their mindset might take them to be. And change is not a bad thing. A lot of the time people struggle to understand that in order to evolve in life, you have to change. So the series for baggage, burdens, and labels has basically allowed others to break habits, see past a lifestyle that you thought you had to live. Like you can live outside of the lifestyle that you were forced. I saw a lot of abuse when I was growing up, and I saw a lot of addictions when I was growing up. And so for a long time, there was a lot of people in my life that assumed I was going to become those people that were in my life that were that way. And I struggled with getting out of the mindset of thinking that I had to be that kind of a person, or I had to live in that type of lifestyle. Like I'm 41 right now, and I struggle to this day with work, because I do work on myself every day, and I do work to become a better version of myself. My first steps are to obviously get myself out there and teach others how to break this mindset of stagnation. Like you're allowed to live a new life. You're allowed to become a better version of yourself, and you're allowed to change the way you see life and the way you move in life. You don't have to be stuck with these limiting labels that others put on you. Like that was my biggest thing dealing with life, is having to be labeled something that I wasn't, to fit a narrative in other people's idea of myself and my lifestyle. I walked away from family because I felt that I was never going to be seen as a person. And it's hard to be a person now. Like if you're a parent that's trying to live in a world outside of being a parent, that is very, very hard. Because when people are so used to you being a parent or being a particular way, and then you decide to want to step away from living that certain lifestyle or living that particular way, or even being a mom or dad, it doesn't necessarily have to be a mom, but in general, like if you decide you want to finally start taking actions towards your future in your life, and you start to get this backlash of others like not understanding why you're trying to pursue your life, especially now later on in life, it might seem weird to others. Like they might look at you and feel like, you know, you're fake, or you're trying to be brand new, or you're trying to be someone that you're not. Growth is necessary for change. And growth requires for you to get really uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable with wanting to change. You first have to even notice that there needs to be something that changes. And you need to be able to call yourself out when you know that there's something that needs to change. Like when you can sit there and say, nothing has gone right in my life. Nothing has changed in my life. And I'm not seeing the results that I want to see in life. You have to question yourself why. What's the problem? Like, what's going wrong in life to where you don't see the change? Like, if you know something needs to change, why stay stagnant and not make those necessary changes? A lot of the time, people that don't want to change love to blame others for why they didn't change, or blame others when things don't go their way. A lot of the time, that's not taking responsibility and accountability for your own actions. It's like people like to paint pictures of a story and then not place themselves in the story. Everybody plays part in their life. You are the dictator of your life. You are in control of how you play this game called life. Baggage, burdens, and labels only happens when you claim that baggage, you obtain those burdens, and you allow yourself to be stuck with those labels. Because you don't have to stay stuck with those labels. You can create new labels by simply just changing the way you think, changing the way you feel, changing the way you speak, changing the way you perceive the things around you. When I talk to my clients and I tell them how to break baggage, burdens, and labels, well, first you have to understand what kind of baggage you even have in your life. And then you have to break down each one of those baggages so that you know where your life lines up within that baggage, and how to change the things and unpack those things that are even in your baggage. Hey, Sean. Then you have to go beyond unpacking that baggage, because a lot of us carry baggage from past relationships. We carry baggage from friendships. We carry baggage from family. We carry baggage from the past, just our own personal baggages that we struggle to let go of. And then those baggages, they become burdens. So then not only are we carrying all this baggage from the past or from other people, now we're carrying them with us as burdens. So imagine taking a suitcase and filling it up with everything that serves no purpose in your life and chugging it around with you everywhere. And then you're picking up articles of other people. So I'm going to pick up your bad habits, and I'm going to pick up your bad way of thinking, and I'm going to pick up the way you speak because it's so negative, and I'm going to pick up, you know, your karmic debt, and I'm going to put all this in a suitcase, and I'm going to zip it up, and I'm going to carry that on my back too. And then I'm going to walk in life. After a while, that baggage gets heavy. I don't want to carry bags of trauma and karma and drama, you know, to the point where like I can't even have room for myself. Then not only are you carrying this baggage, now you got to go through your life with the burdens. So you're chugging around this. Okay, you're chugging around this baggage, and now we're gonna throw some burdens in here too. And then on top of that, we wanna throw on a couple of labels, with people telling us that we're this, that, and the other. And then before you know it, you look like a hot mess. And then you don't even know what to do with yourself because you're afraid to live life, because the minute you go and try to be someone else, it's a problem for somebody, or they don't understand, or they want to step on your boundaries because they don't understand why you want to change. Why wouldn't you want to change? Why wouldn't you want to be somebody different? Why wouldn't you want more and better for yourself? It's really hard. It's really hard to go through a change when you're around people who are very unsupportive of you going through a change, first off. Because there's a gap. And you have to be on the same page with others that are also going through a change with you or around you. And whenever you end up reaching a level of expertise or a level of growth, that starts to intimidate a lot of people around you, and it starts to cause a lot of talk and conflict, because people that are not willing to go through a growth spurt are not gonna they're not gonna become your cheerleaders. They're not gonna cheer you on. They're not gonna coach you on, and they're not gonna want what's better for you, because they're not willing to change. And it's so hard to call out a person that is not willing to see the errors in themselves so that there could be change. Like, trying to argue and bump heads with a person that is so against wanting to even realize that something needs to change in their own life is like a huge red flag. And when you're around these type of people, they're gonna keep you stagnant in your growth spurt. Like, they're not gonna allow you to transition past this part in your life that needs to grow. And a lot of the time, these same people will totally mutilate and kill your desire to want to venture out and want to build yourself in a more positive way. Like, it's bad enough having to live with everyday's burdens and carry the baggage of other people's wants and desires for yourself. Like, when you can finally think for yourself in a clear, stable mind to know that, hey, something's wrong. This is lifestyle, and these situations in my life are not working for me, and something needs to change. When you can realize in yourself that something needs to change, that says a lot about you as a person. That says that you're willing to take accountability. That says that you're willing to make those necessary changes. That says that you're receptive to understanding and knowing that you need to change in order to see some kind of growth. Growth is not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fun, and it's not going to be accepting. And you might fumble a lot when you're going through a growth spurt, because let's be real, we don't know everything. We don't understand everything. We weren't born with a manual that teaches us how to be a person, how to live life. And we only pick up the understanding of what it is to live life from the ones that have taught us to live life and the things that we've picked up along the way. And then we kind of take a lot of that and mix and mingle it and say, well, this is who I am and this is how I'm going to be. And it's sad to say that a lot of people that think and feel in those type of ways end up putting themselves in a lifestyle that they're not happy with, in situations that they aren't comfortable with. And it's hard to get out of those situations because you had no direction, and you struggle to first even realize that you're allowed to grow. And then two, realizing that it's okay to accept and allow yourself to grow. Like, it's crazy to say this, but a lot of people struggle to understand that You're in control of your own life and the choices that you make every day. And if you can get up every day with a conscious mind and to make conscious decisions and say, well, I'm going to get up today and I'm going to make it an effort to do my bed. And I'm going to make it an effort to wash my dishes and clean my house and take care of myself. You should use that same effort to kind of do that with yourself, your mentality, your everyday goals. Like, and if you're a person that struggles to understand to even how to create a goal or have an idea, first you have to learn to find passion within yourself. And if you struggle with that, replace them labels that you have stuck to yourself and is told you, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I don't have talent. I don't have the potential. I don't know where to start. Tear them labels off. Tear them all off. Throw them away. And start to place new labels on yourself or on your mirror, or I don't care, wherever you get up and you're looking at on a regular basis. You want to see something, at least 10 somethings on a regular basis that tells you, I'm good at what I do. I'm happy. I'm understood. I'm loved. I feel joyful. I am peaceful. I have what I want. I have what I need. I'm getting the guidance. I seek the guidance. I'm accepting of the guidance. You know, because we fight ourselves to allow ourselves to grow. Like, I don't know how many of you struggle with this. I know I have struggled with this, and I know a few of the patients that I have worked with in the past. They struggle with understanding that it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to say you're not okay. Like, one of my biggest things that I make it known on a regular basis is I struggle with communication with others because I've struggled with my health and my mental my entire life. And when I feel like I'm not having the greatest day, I always give pre-warnings and I let others know I'm having a bad day and I don't really feel like myself today. And I just need acceptance and love and to just be heard. And when you can speak on what you need without feeling like it's wrong for you to do that, you will feel more peaceful with being able to work with the people that are around you. Because in order to be heard, you have to be accepted. And in order to be accepted, you have to place boundaries for others to understand how to move with you. I'm far from an easy person to deal with. I'm not for everyone. I can be a bit loud and I can be a bit obnoxious and I'm extremely sarcastic. And that's just because I have a lot of fire in me. And one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to others and their growth, their development towards change is bullies. Like, no one has the right to hold you hostage to anything you've ever done. No one's allowed to hold you hostage to anything you ever said. And you're not even allowed to hold yourself hostage to the way you feel about the way you've thought or felt about a particular thing. Because when you hold those things, that's baggage. So every time I have a feeling that's negative, it's baggage. And then every time I talked about something that was negative, that's baggage. And then I'm still thinking about something that they said 13 years ago, that's baggage. Imagine how heavy your back must be to carry and lug around all this baggage. And then you turn it into burdens. Because now every time you have conversations about all these different things that made you feel some type of way, it always gets brought up in conversations. It's always a trigger. It's a red flag. When you know that you've got past those burdensome feelings is when you can talk about them and you're not angry. When you can talk about it and you're not sad. When you can talk about it and it doesn't bring up feelings that are going to put you in a predicament you know is not good for you. Baggage, burdens, and labels can all come in a lot of different ways as well, because your feelings, that's a baggage. That's also a burden. The way you think, that's a label. And a lot of us label ourselves. We don't need help with anybody labeling ourselves. We label our damn self on a regular basis by just being a Debbie Downer to ourselves. And we'll be the first ones a lot of the time to talk ourselves out of doing things out of fear. But the fear comes because of that baggage you're still holding on to, and then burdens that you allow for to take place within that baggage. So not only did we take that baggage and then we turned it into burdens, but now we gave it a little label, and we're gonna walk around this little label. We're gonna carry the label like this all day, and then you're stuck in this mindset of this mentality of nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. But how do you know it's not gonna change? How? Okay. Well, there's a cool thing that I created. So when I help others, I tell them, okay, look, in order to build a new mindset and a new way of living in life and going through life with understanding how life's supposed to be, you need to create this blueprint. And this blueprint is basically an understanding of how to gravitate to life. So how do we break baggage, burdens, and labels? We have to reconstruct the way that our mind thinks. We have to reconstruct the way that our heart feels. And we have to reconstruct the way that our mouth speaks. So every day you should make an effort to create some kind of a life plan. You want to create a life plan where you set out forth in front of you. In a way, it's like a verbal visual board. What kind of life do you want to see for yourself? What passions and desires do you have for the future going ahead now? What do you want to see gravitating towards you? If you're a person who likes to do vision boards, that's even better, because I would advise you to create a vision board, or you can write it down, your life planner, and you basically create. We're gonna unpack all the baggage. You're gonna take something like this, a life planner, and you're gonna write down on a sheet of paper all the negative things. So basically, you're gonna write a story about your life, and you should have a couple of different color pens. So we're gonna write your life story in black. We're gonna underline repetitive words in blue. We're gonna circle negative words in red, and we're going to rewrite and rethink the way we wrote that story. The reason why I say to write it out in black, underline in blue, and circle in red is because how do you play part in the story called your life? First, you got to write out your life. Pretend that your life is a manuscript, and you're going to play in a big role as yourself. And because that's the biggest role you will ever get, is the role of being yourself. And the director says, I want you to write out your life. And then I want you to read back to me your life. And tell me all the things you noticed that were repetitive. So if it's a lot of negative, repetitive stuff, how did it get there? And where do you place yourself within your story? And how did it get to those bad parts? Who caused it? Why did it get caused? How do you play part in that role? What did you do within that role? How did you respond in that role? What did you say in that role? And what could you have done different? And then change the mindset. change the mindset. Okay, well, I hate my life for this, that, and the other. I dislike this, that, and the other because, this happened to me and these people did this, that, and the other. Okay. It made you feel this way, and it showed you a couple of things about them and hopefully you, because hopefully you put yourself in your story, and because you're not perfect, and start to catch all the things. Hopefully you will be able to catch all the things that you see are negative that need to change. Red is a signify for me as a red flag. Like, blue is speaking, and red is just, black is just telling your story. Then, after you point yourself out in your story, you're going to do a to-do list. So first you're going to write out your life plan, what's your story? And then what needs to change? You need a to-do list. Because after you figure out how you play role in your story called your life, what needs to change? What do you need to work on? What needs to be different in order to see a difference? On top of that, look, I had already mentioned the vision board, but I'm going to show you again. So you need to create like areas in your life that talk about the vision board, like your wealth goals, your health goals, your socials, love, family, character, spirituality, and knowledge. Like, what do you want to see happening in your life? And then make that a reality. Outside of creating a vision board, you have to keep yourself focused monthly. What are you doing monthly? Time management. You have to create a time management and a weekly planner. And then you have to break down your goals. Like, in order to understand baggage, burdens, and labels, you first have to break down the baggage, burdens, and labels by understanding where the baggage came from, why the burdens are there, and how to release these labels the society placed on you, and then what you placed on yourself. When you can finally be able to point out all the red flags in your story called your life, and start to reconstruct on how you see life and how you work in life, you can start to make a better foundation for your future. So my big thing has always been a more functional foundation for future. So when you can function your dysfunctions, hey Tammy, when you can function your dysfunctions in your life, life will start to flow a lot easier. But you have to first be willing to make that change. I just met hey love, I'm over here. I'm actually trying to break down the baggage, burdens, and labels, and I know that we definitely get into conversations. Thank you guys. Yeah, so like when we get an understanding of like our baggage, our burdens, and our labels, when we can understand how we play a role in our own lives. And I'm constantly always telling my patients, like, you have to place yourself in a storyline. You're the director and the producer of your life. You have to create your storyline in a way where that, for a lot of us, it might be a horror story. And a lot of us, it might be a love story. A lot of us, it might be a beautiful story. And, but we don't know what our stories are until we're willing to write them out. Because the only way that change is going to happen is you have to see what needs to change. You have to be willing to be authentic with yourself and say, okay, something needs to change. I don't know where to start. So I'm going to write it out. And I'm going to place myself in this production. And then I'm going to see all the red flags. Because when you write your own storyline for your life, you're by yourself. No one's there with you. And so now you have the opportunity to be the authentic self. Where you can say, okay, I treated so-and-so this way in my life. And this happened because I responded in this way. And so-and-so did this to me. And this is how I felt about a situation. And so I carried this baggage and burden my whole life, not allowing myself to break free from the labels that was placed on this situation. And whether you're still around these people or not, because a lot of these situations can be fixed and healed, because there's always somebody that wants to get a I'm sorry. And there's always going to be somebody that wants you to come and kiss their butt about something that happened. But what role did you play? What role did they play? How did we even get into this situation? And then how do we get out of these situations? With me working with the rehabilitation center, it has taught me that people come a long way from breaking out of toxic habits and trying not to fall back into the toxic habits that first got them there to begin with. It's hard to hold on to your sobriety when you got life always coming at you. And then you're stuck in this position of, I don't know what to do. And I don't want to fall back into those old habits or repetitive disasters that got me in this situation to begin with. The best way to keep your mind off of those type of things is to put your mind on something else that's more productive. Get busy. Get busy. Keep yourself occupied. Find something to do that's positive. Create a goal. You know, when I talk about the goal plans and creating goals, you know, it forces you have to go through some kind of a self-reflection before you can understand that you need to have a goal or create goals, because you need to see what needs to change within yourself and your settings. Like I'm always telling others, go through your house and search for all the things that serve no purpose and have no place. So you're going to purge your house. Then you're going to purge your lifestyle. And then you're going to purge your friends and family. And then you're going to purge your mindset. And when you're able to do all of that, it forces you to sit by yourself for a while and think and reflect. This is the perfect time where I tell others, once you've done all the purging part, now you need to go and put yourself in some kind of meditative state. And when you put yourself in this meditative state, you have to allow your mind to recalibrate itself in a way where, like, you give yourself permission to take your power back. Because you didn't realize that when you're in situations that put you in these negative feelings, in this negative mindset, and this negative toxic behavior, you lose control of yourself. And regaining your own control on yourself again is the hardest thing to do. The reason why I say it's the hardest thing to do is because when you've lost control, trying to regain that control leaves you so lost and confused, you don't even know where to begin. That's why I say to write your story. That's why I say to look in the mirror, stare at yourself for a little bit, and ask yourself the question, where do I begin? My biggest thing has always been, who am I? I was asked that by a friend about 15 years ago. A friend of mine said, I need you to describe to me, who are you? I thought I knew what that question was at that time, and I didn't, because I couldn't answer that question. I didn't know who I was. I didn't understand. I'm sorry. I didn't understand who I was and what I even wanted. But I was allowed to definitely make a change within my life because I learned to understand what I wanted and what I needed and who I was supposed to be. By breaking down my goal plans and my personal wants, needs, and goals of my idea of what I needed for my future. I stopped thinking about like what others wanted for me. I stepped away from other people's ideas of who I was supposed to be, and I gravitated more towards my own wants, my own needs, and my own desires by creating a lifestyle blueprint. Lifestyle blueprint was created based off creating a new mindset, a new goal plan, and a new direction towards a better future. Like outside of that, there's not much more I can say about that. I'm going to leave it with that for now. There's a lot more that I want to speak on when it comes to baggage, burdens, and labels, but we will do that on our next episode. This is just me basically showing myself for the first time and getting comfortable with being on camera and explaining to you guys what is it that I do and how to get you guys away from the baggage, releasing the burdens, and letting go of those limiting labels the life and the society places upon us every single day. Until we talk again, my name is Indigo. I am Ask Indigo, and I will see you again soon. Bye, guys, and God bless.